Welcome. Take it up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Thom Giguere, who's the Director of Sales at Paylocity. Welcome to the show, Thom.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for having me.
Love to hear more about what you guys do. I know Paylocity is in the HR and payroll management. There's a huge accelerated digital transformation taking place. You guys are doing really well. So let's hear it. What are some of the innovations you guys are doing and some of the trends that you're seeing?
Sure, absolutely. Well, yes, at Paylocity, we're working extremely hard to bring innovation to what was normally known 20 years ago as the payroll world. Then it actually transformed into payroll and human resources, HCM world, but now it's more of a modern workforce technology. It's truly trying to capitalize and move into modern day trends and maximizing what technology can bring to our space as far as working with analytics and even dovetailing into AI now.
Now you have over 4,000 employees and you're growing. And I'm wondering, is there like a certain adoption taking place by clients? It's more like SMB clients who are really a lot more nimble and innovative?
Yes, that is very fair to say. So basically what we're seeing is a transformation in how they actually manage this portion. Before it was really manual. There was a manual process for payroll. There was a manual process for human resources. There was a lot of Excel spreadsheets, a lot of disparate systems. What we've done is we've tried to package it all in one system. So really what we're doing is we're not only just paying employees and tracking time off and making sure taxes are done properly, we're also bringing in everything that's considered in an HCM kind of space, human capital management, but then we're even taking it to that next level and bringing in analytics. We're actually looking to predict what an organization can do to help propel themselves forward, create efficiencies, and maximize technology as it is today.
So as an employee user, what can I expect? And maybe even beyond the expectation, like be wow in having this experience at a company that uses your technology.
Well, I'm glad you brought up experience because that is the one thing that we actually look at and try to measure. So we look at it through three different lenses. We look at it through the user experience. We look at it through the employee experience. Then we look at it through the leadership experience. So we actually are looking at it in three different lenses and making sure that each and every one of those is unique, is different, but more importantly, is actually driving for the holistic side of the organization as well.
Very good. You have a 90% accuracy on predicting turnover for employers. So what does that mean and how does that help HR?
I'm glad you bring that up and understand that 90% accuracy prediction isn't from day one. It's once you get in it and you're utilizing that software and you're getting the employees engaged in it. Because now all of a sudden we are leading the space in our space. We're leading in the mobile first application. And we know for a fact that the more engaged an employee is in their organization, the more likely they're going to be happy, the more likely they're going to stay, and the more likely they're going to encourage others within the workforce to actually excel at what they're doing. So because of that engagement, we're actually striving to create an application where we're getting every user every day. We want them to utilize it. We want the leadership to utilize it, supervisors to utilize it, because now all of a sudden, what if somebody is a very active user on the platform and they just go quiet? The organization can actually start measuring that. And if you can measure it, you can manage it. And that's what we're looking at right now. So the ability to see how often are they logging on? How are they utilizing the system? What is the software being used for most? And then, what else are they doing it? Are they doing it just during the hours of 8 and 5, the normal work hours? Or are they even engaged in the evening when they're on their own personal time? All of those pieces point to the engagement of employees, but also the engagement of leadership within the organization, supervisors all the way down.
Thom, that's a lot of drive to enhance culture, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. I know that's top of mind for the management teams at many corporations. How does your tool help them on that front?
Great that you bring that up. As I mentioned before, with us really focusing on mobile first technology, the organization now has the ability to actually reach out to every single employee within the organization. So that culture that they're trying to drive forward, they're also able to push that out and push that content out to those individual employees. I actually have a group, it's a manufacturing firm, just over 2,000 employees. They reference our software and they utilize it every single week in their weekly platform. So they're actually using it in the weekly newsletter. They're actually driving forward and utilizing our software to not only push content out, but they're also surveying the employees. They're asking them, you know, what is your feedback on this? If we make this change, what do you feel it's going to do to the organization? But more importantly, how is it going to enhance the culture of tomorrow? So we're not just a software of today. We're looking to be a technology of tomorrow with our software.
Thom, as a director of sales, you manage a team, but it's actually a tough time to get prospects to actually spend time, pay attention. Have you found that to be a challenge, and how do you help your team?
Yes, it's most definitely a challenge. The one thing that I've noticed that this environment has brought is it's changed some business behaviors. So it's a lot more challenging. It's a lot easier, I should say, for an organization to accept a meeting, but then all of a sudden they just kind of forget about it. So one of the things that I'm driving my team to do is soft reminders, to reach out there and say, hey, just a reminder that we have this coming up, you know, a friendly reminder that we're going to meet via Zoom, different things like that. But it's really more on the lines of the complex sales side of things. It's not a transactional type of environment anymore. People aren't just looking at a numbers base and saying, okay, yes, this fits our budget. What we're looking at more on the lines of putting it into a soft rollout. Let's execute on one module first, and then another, and then another. And then so for what we're doing here is we're getting raving fan service, but it also lends to our retention. So we have like I mentioned before, a 97% retention in our client base. And one of the things we do, and we do very well, is we work with our clients on a quarterly basis. We try to have a stewardship report on an annual basis. And so we know for a fact that if one person does move organizations, they'll say, hey, I have somebody for this. I want to bring in my Paylocity team. And that really does help boost us up.
Now, I know your team in particular has a much higher retention rate, 99%, which is
yes,
fantastic. So, you know, I mean, I think that when we look at sales, there's always training, coaching, tips, and ongoing help for the sales team to stay on top of their game. What do you do with your sales reps?
So what we do is we do a lot of role playing. So we will actually go through different scenarios. We'll role play it out. But more importantly, what we're trying to do is we don't share problems. We try to solve problems. We really get in the reality of the buyer. We want to understand what their reality is. We want to understand where their challenges are. But we also want them to understand you don't have to continue to live like this. There is a better solution out there. And if you give us the time and effort to really dissect it down and understand where those issues may be, because there's a lot of problems when it comes to the current HCM environment. Can't say we can solve all the problems, but if we do a good job of analyzing, of asking the right questions and truly putting ourselves in the buyer's mind, we may be able to solve some of the problems that they're facing.
So when you say focusing on solutions, are you looking at, okay, reducing the clicks, reducing cycle time, you know, wasted energy?
Oh, yes. Yes, it is truly maximizing time. Time is valuable. And our clients have to rest assured that we're going to respect their time, especially in a solution like this. So one of the things we do is throughout our software, we have a client feedback button. So every page of our software, the clients can actually make one click, make a suggestion, and that goes directly to our sales engineers. It bypasses the sales side. It bypasses operation. It goes straight to engineering. So then that way, we actually truly do have customers as our co-creators. The cool thing about the modern workforce technology, so as I mentioned before, you had payroll, then you had HCM. Now we're into modern workforce technology. It actually takes the complex and messy and makes it simple. And that is what's really propelling us forward.
Wow. I love that. Direct feedback from the user to the engineering team.
Yes. And our clients thoroughly enjoy that. The cool part about it, Jessica, is that we actually start with I would say it is a very small solution. So it's just a viable product, minimal viable product. And then from there, those clients that actually gave us the feedback, we offer them the beta testing. So we're starting with a very simple solution, and then they help us continue to develop it. And so now all of a sudden, the client is a part of something bigger as well.
I love it. Thom, I want to ask about prospecting because I know that marketing does a lot of work to bring in leads, and then you take that and then try to close the deal through your magic, right? So talk to us about that. Once you have a list from marketing, how do you move it through the pipeline to closure?
Very good question. So yes, we do have a CRM that we utilize. The CRM is our central hub for all the prospects that marketing does bring us. But from there, it's not as easy as, oh my goodness, this is a great prospect. You got to dig in a little bit deeper. And we utilize, so what I do for my team, I consider myself a 5,500 expert. 5,500 forms are filed by organizations that have a 401k, or if they offer employee benefits over 100 employees. It's required by the federal government. Well, that information is actually public knowledge. And there's a couple of organizations out there that do a really good job of taking that information and putting it into a usable database. We use one called MyEdge. And so what I do with my team is I'm able to look, I would call it almost a crystal ball, because it's historical information that helps predict the future for these organizations. We can see if employee counts are going up, if they're going down. We can actually see if employee benefit costs are rising. Maybe they're lowering, and so when I take a look at that, now all of a sudden, when we talk to the HR department, we can say, hey, what are you doing to get your employee costs in line? Or we can say, what is happening because your employee costs are skyrocketing? So all of that information, what I do with my team is I would almost call it forensic. We dig in deep to it, and it takes a little bit of time, but the time is definitely worth I guess the results are worth the time, because what we do is we have really valuable conversations with our prospects, soon to be clients, and it's just not the normal, can you tell me about this or tell me about that? We're actually saying, what are you guys doing? Because all of a sudden you controlled your employee benefit costs. You must be doing something great with your culture. So now the conversation's bigger.
I see. So the data is there, but your interpretation of it to try to understand. So for example, headcount is going down, but revenue is going up. And you're thinking, oh, maybe they're automating a lot of the process.
Exactly. Very well said. Maybe all of a sudden they're replacing belly buttons with robots, which a lot of organizations are doing. There are some, I guess, HR benefits to automation, but there's also some HR challenges as well that go along with it.
It's been very interesting. Thank you so much, Thom, for talking with us about Paylocity, the innovation, the trends, and also sharing tips on sales and management skills.
Oh, you are most welcome. Thank you for having me, Jessica. I've thoroughly enjoyed our time.
There you have it. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Thom Giguere from Paylocity.
Thank you.